the best way to really understand the perspective of this program is to understand why are we here? Why are we on the 4th of January during your weekend? You are sitting in this call and you have committed yourself, not only this call, you have committed yourself for 12 months to spend significant amount of your time. And not only time, you have also invested your money. So it is said that if you could figure out why you want to do something, the what and how becomes a lot more easier. So I think at this first session, it's very critical and crucial for us to understand why are we here. So let's take, and many of you are aware, of course, we are aware, but let's remind us that why are we here? What are the causes? What are the reasons that motivated us to really commit to this program? So number one, I think almost the entire group is from finance profession. There are few exceptions I know. The IT guys, they were inspired by our learning and development, so they joined us. Welcome. But from finance professional point of view, this is the time I think the profession is going through radical changes. They never encountered, they were never experienced, never witnessed such changes in the past. And this is going to actually redefine the profession in the next few years, I would say. So that's number one. Number two, not only finance profession, but the business environment is changing very fast. Look at all the new type of business models that's coming up and the way the practices are changing, the way the competition is increasing. And then new industries are emerging and every industry is at risk. No industry is secure. Who thought that a very established and stable industry like hospitality will be impacted by a small business model like Airbnb and then Uber? So with the technology, possibilities are endless. And any business model, any industry could be at risk of elimination at any time. Then on top of it, the traditional education, which most of us had, is really becoming very irrelevant. So most of us, we are all experienced professionals. Most of us had those educations 10, 15, 20 years ago. So first of all, the time gap is too large. But even what they are teaching today in most of the academic programs and the certification program is not completely relevant to the business requirements. So businesses are really going on their own way. And certificates and degrees are still important. I'm not saying they are waste, but they have become basically just an entry ticket into the profession. Otherwise, you have to learn a lot on your own. Lifespan of skills is shortening. So whatever you learn, it's very short-lived. So before you could finish learning one thing, something else is waiting for you to start learning again. And then career path, as I said, that career path is not very clear for many of not only finance professionals, but also in other professions. It's getting blurred. There is a lot of uncertainty happening now. And even for the people in the early career who are in a situation to make career choices, it's becoming very complicated. There are some, I received some personal messages from some of the young professionals who are pursuing accounting certification and they were confused. Should I really go for CPA and CA or should I do something else? And their concern is valid because we don't know what's going to happen in the next few years. So the question is that, do we have answers for these? Are we ready for this? And that's what we will try to figure out during this session as well in this program. So I'm sure many of you already observed somewhere on the social media and LinkedIn, my 7 predictions for finance. So it's just a reminder, it's just creating a reference point and perspective for us to go into this program, that what are the threats, what are the challenges we are facing right now and how could we overcome them. So number one is blockchain. Of course, there is a lot of buzz and hype about the blockchain, and blockchain is a very powerful concept. By the way, all these predictions are about future. Future is uncertain. I could be completely wrong or I could be completely right. I don't know. I try to make these predictions to help people like you based on my best judgment. So I did a lot of research in the last 2 years on these changing trends. And based on all those cumulative knowledge, I tried to identify some patterns for the future. So that is how I listed these 7 predictions. But there is another important aspect, that how long would it take, when it's going to happen? There I am completely blind. So I did not try to project any timeline for it. This could happen in 2 years, this could happen in 5 years, this could take 10 years. I don't know. But I know that these trends are going to take place, most probably. So blockchain, based on the functionality and the characteristics, especially the smart contracts and the verification part and the self-reconciling nature, and a lot of parties involved, I think ultimately it's going to replace our conventional accounting system, which is already 500 years old. So this is the time that something like blockchain will replace it. RPA, robotic process automation, is already very much mature, very much practical. And if you search like RPA use cases in finance and accounting, you will see that a lot of applications are already happening. And the market is crowded with vendors from RPA. So this process is already started by the way. Many companies are already automating their accounting activities and processes through RPA. So this RPA will basically replace or change all the accounting activities into the automated processes. Data science will emerge as a key independent function. It's already emerging very fast. So in few years, like marketing, like finance, like accounting, like HR, data science would be itself a very solid function in the business model. Now, there is possibility this data science could be part of the finance and accounting function or IT function or some other function. We don't know. But data science itself is going to grow significantly in terms of the importance across function. And by the way, this data science is going to undermine the finance function, because so far currently we have been the custodian of information. We were sitting on the data. We have the authority to maintain and release the information. Now information, a big chunk of that information is going to shift to the data science. So that's going to undermine the critical importance of finance and accounting going forward. Within finance function, finance business partnering, I'm sure you are familiar with that. That's going to grow. That is the only role which is going to significantly grow. And that is the role which is expected to work very closely with data scientists. So of course, they also have to learn a lot, but they are at the forefront of working with the technology or the data professionals. The main accounting activities like maintaining books or preparing or closing books, that would not exist, because that would all happen behind the scenes through the computers at the back end of the system. Next is traditional historical reporting. It will only limit to the regulatory reporting, because regulation is have a long life cycle of change. So it will take some time for the regulators to really change the requirement. So the historical reporting will continue for the sake of regulatory reporting, but for internal management, probably they are not very hungry for this historical reporting, because through the predictive and prescriptive analytics, a lot of future-oriented information will be available for them. And overall headcount in finance function may go up to 50% reduction. That's a big number. In fact, in one report from, I think that was from PwC, I saw that number up to 70%, but even 50% is very alarming. And with this 50%, there is a high probability that many finance and accounting professionals would be displaced, and they will go to some other careers, because everybody would not be able to be accommodated into the future of accounting and finance function. So again, as I said, I could be completely wrong, but this looks like a future scenario which is going to happen in the next few years. And we need to keep these as a perspective or reference point, that what we need to learn and how do we need to really develop ourselves for future responsibilities. So this report, I'm sure this is from the Future of Job report from World Economic Forum that was back in September 2018. And overall, this looks a very positive outlook, that all the discussion, all the buzz about these jobs being taken over by robots is not that bad. According to that report, they are going to lose 75 million jobs, but at the same time, 133 million new jobs will be created. So there is a gain of almost 60 million new jobs. So it looks very positive, but the implementation of this is going to be taken is not really easy, because this transformation will cause a lot of job disruption. So of course there is demand. If you look at the type of the roles here, top 10 emerging and top 10 declining, there would be a lot of demand for those top 10 emerging roles. But who are the people who do that job? The people who are losing their job in the top 10 declining categories, they are not the ones who will take those jobs, generally speaking. They are not trained. They are not ready. So this is a very interesting situation in the job front going to happen, that there are a lot of jobs for which there is no candidates or less candidates are available, and there are a lot of candidates who are looking for jobs and they are not able to find jobs. And by the way, this is also already happening in the finance and accounting profession. I know there is a lot of openings available for the CFO level or the finance business partner or controller level, and at the same time, there are a lot of people in the job market who are searching and for jobs, and they're getting desperate, unable to find a job. So already that polarization, that employers looking for the candidates, not able to find candidates, and the candidates looking for job, not able to find jobs, is already happening, and it's only going to increase further. Now, this slide is very alarming. And again, this is future oriented. This is not me, by the way. This is Deloitte, and they do a lot of research. This is projection for 2025. But what does it tell? If you look at these bars and look from the left side, so it shows the countries who are already developed and industrialized. And the percentage or the number on the top of each bar, that is showing the percentage savings these countries will achieve through automation. So they are already at the forefront of automation. And there is a lot of outsourcing of these jobs in the third world countries like China, like Vietnam, like Mexico, like India. So there are millions and millions of people are employed in those jobs which are outsourced by these countries. This report is saying that by 2025, these countries will have enough technology, enough automation to do those jobs themselves through robots. It's not a manpower issue anymore. Their robots would be able to do those jobs much better, much cheaper, much productively, and they will achieve these type of savings like 20 to 30% savings. If that happens, imagine it will change the global landscape of the jobs. Millions and millions of people would be jobless in those third world countries, and that may lead to social unrest actually. But this is very alarming and may create very dramatic results in those years to come. This is US Department of Labor, by the way, and they do a lot of research. And they are saying that they have no idea. 2/3 of the children who are starting school today, they have no idea what type of jobs or profession they will be into. It's getting so uncertain that it's very difficult or almost impossible for them to make prediction or projection. So disruption is no more a disruption. Disruption is a new norm, which is happening every day. This chart, you may already have seen it. I've shown this in few other sessions as well. Timeline is very broad or long here. It's last 165 years. Look at the composition of different industries 160 years ago and today. And the biggest change you could observe is, of course, agriculture. Now, agriculture, we are not producing less. We are actually producing a lot more volumes. But because of the mechanization and automation, there is less resources involved. Other sectors which are changing fast is the manufacturing. And other sectors which are growing actually are basically service oriented: education, healthcare, telecommunication, professional services. They're all increasing. Now think of this. Take this chart as a reference point and think of the next 5 or 10 years and see that what type of picture you will see. In the next 5 or 10 years, what picture would emerge? So what has happened in the last 100 years may happen in the next 5 years, or maybe more than that. If you take into account the pace with which changes are happening. So it's not all bad news only I'm sharing with you. There is also good news. Good news is that life expectancy is increasing all across. And don't look at the statistics of your own country if you are from third world. The quality of life, whether you are in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, or US or Germany or anywhere, the quality of life our class, our segment, our social class enjoy is very high quality. And based on that, it is reasonable to expect that we would live up to 80, 85. Now, if 80, 85 is the expected life, then look at what is happening in the corporate environment. If you have a corporate job, while the life expectancy is increasing, the expectancy of your corporate life is decreasing. And this is a reality not only in one country or one region, all across the world. So despite there is a lot of claim from the corporate of not doing any age discrimination, there is discrimination. So it's very difficult to survive in the corporate beyond 60, 65, even if there is no retirement limitations or any forced retirement. And if you lose a job after 50, it's very difficult and challenging to get back on the corporate track. That's the reality. So while life expectancy is going up to 80, 85, after 50 it's becoming difficult to continue to survive your jobs. So what should be your strategy of life? So uncertainty is the new norm. Disruption is the new norm. And I like this quote. This is a slogan by the US Navy SEALs, which is a very high performance organization. And they have a very rigorous training regime. This is their slogan or motto. The very first day they tell their new recruits, the only easy day was yesterday. I would say that this is our opportunity to utilize our unutilized potential. Every one of us has a lot of capacity, unutilized potential. And with these challenges, we have the opportunity to utilize that unutilized potential and capacity. Fierce competition, increasing competition, that's one reality. Anyone you talk to from any industry, any business model, they will say that there is a lot of competition. In fact, the other day, I was trying to shop something on Amazon. Actually, it was a vacuum cleaner. And there was 150 vendors, 150 brands or variety available for vacuum cleaner from all corners of the world at all prices, all functionality. And as you know, the Amazon system is very robust. I could do that shopping very quickly in few minutes. So based on the technology, based on the platforms available, for most of the businesses and manufacturers and suppliers, it's a global market. So they are everywhere trying to sell their product and services, resulting in fierce competitive environment. Then growing economic concerns everywhere. Businesses are concerned that if economic crisis happens, how they will going to survive. And emergence of new business model, as I said earlier, this is the threat to every business model, every industry today. That a new business model may come and really shake their existence. Rapid introduction of new technology is only going to be faster and faster. And every business model in every industry is at risk. So that's in a nutshell, that's the current environment we are living. And this is not a current trend only. That you will say, okay, these are difficult times, maybe in a couple of years it would better or change. This is going to remain like that, it just get worse. This is the new reality. All these things are going to continue, not going to get better. So we need to really develop ourselves as a business manager faster to take care of these challenges. For finance and accounting organizations, so these are the challenges. There is always an expectation or demand for the finance function to reduce cost, always in any environment, good or bad times. So that's one challenge is always there. Then also finance is looked upon that new technology, how do you leverage it, not only for your finance function, but also for the whole organization. With the predictive and prescriptive analytics, there is a lot of demand that how to improve analytics capability with these new technologies. And then with the talk of automation, RPA technology, there is also expectation and demand that you need to redeploy resources to high value activities. So if all these routine activities are going to be automated, we don't need those people who could only do those routine jobs. We need people to do high value activities. And then align talent with business needs. So you don't have any back-end processes, then see what businesses require from finance and accounting function. So these are the challenges for finance to really meet in terms of the demand or requirement from the business. Now, finance function, if you are a CFO, so you are looking from a finance function point of view. If you are an individual professional, you're looking from your individual point of view. There are three challenges at both levels, at the functional level as well as at the individual level. In fact, these are the three directions or three priorities. Number one, becoming a strategic partner. So of course, there has been a lot of talk about becoming a strategic partner, not new, not recently, for the last 10, 15, 20 years. Not much has really happened, except few exceptions. So really become, while the accounting activities are going away to computers, finance really have to show its value added by becoming a real strategic partner. That's one. Number two, the finance digital transformation. This is also inevitable. Now you can delay the timing a little bit, but it has to take place. Is finance ready for that? And number three, upgrade finance talent. So while number of headcounts are going to be reduced, but whoever is left, they need a high caliber of talent to survive in finance. Now you could, if you are looking from an individual point of view, you could also look at these three things as your priority, whether you want to really become a part of the strategic partners team, become a finance business partner, or you want to develop some expertise on the digital transformation side. For example, becoming a data analyst or becoming a data scientist, or upgrade your finance talent, generally leadership. So this is mainly the program where we are focused on the not only becoming a strategic partner, but overall talent enhancement.
Mr. Saleem, it's a good start. And what we are seeing, like my experience, I've been working in internal audit, and most of the time, what I see over here is basically, there is a lot of family businesses over here in UAE and the Middle East as such, and across the world also. But then there is a distinct difference between the owners and the finance professionals or the finance department. So it's almost like the owners of the first generation or the business owners, they have a set mindset. So like they still want to sign the checks, they still want to do the old traditional conservative way of working around things. And then you have the finance professionals who are trying to get in all the the new concept or the new way of working. So how the bridge is going to be gapped out?
Look, good question. And it's not only for you, a lot of professionals encounter this situation. My answer is that, look, from your development point of view, you have a certain potential and capacity to develop yourself, right? Don't limit that potential with your current job. Your current job may have the capacity to absorb your potential or not. But in many cases, like the environment you described, family-owned businesses, they are conservative, they are not modern, they don't want to do the things which they should do. Okay, you may continue to do that job unless you find a better job, but don't confine yourself to the boundaries of that job. You have the potential to become a modern CFO, a strategic CFO. Keep developing yourself. Keep searching for a better opportunity. So all jobs are temporary. If you think that your potential is not matching with the potential of your job, search for a better opportunity and keep learning. Never stop that learning and development process, because new opportunity would come. First, you demonstrate and prove that you could handle those more responsibilities. So this slide is also part of the future of jobs report from World Economic Forum. And look, from an individual point of view, if you are concerned that, okay, I'm willing to learn something new based on the current scenario, I'm willing to learn something new. What should I learn? So this is the list of the skills, declining skills and growing skills. And if you look at the growing skills, it looks very simplistic, like analytical thinking, creativity, originality, critical thinking, problem solving, etc., etc. Many people will say, I can do that, or I already do that, I can handle it. So that's a little misleading, because these, first of all, are very high level, broad category of skills. And in different type of roles, it may require a different level of expertise. I would say that most of the roles would require a master level of expertise. So it's not Doesn't mean that if you look at the problem solving and you can feel that I have solved problem before, you need to really take some special trainings in it. And this is more like part of the leadership skills. And leadership skills, as we will see, that we can best apply through combining with the strategy. So I'll explain more. The point here is that it's not that simplistic to look at these skills and say that I can handle it or I could develop those skills very fast. So especially for our profession, all these certifications, again, there are some variations, some exceptions. Every institute, I think they are trying their best to upgrade and enrich the contents, trying to make it to meet the requirement of the businesses. But I think still there is a lot of gap between these certifications in terms of whether they are preparing the professionals to meet the business demands or not. Now, if you have done it 10 years, 15 years, 20 years ago, it anyway much irrelevant because a lot has changed. But even for the new professionals, uh, the curriculum still needs to do a lot. And based on all the changes happening, I'm not sure how relevant these certifications are for the future needs of the businesses. So that's another dilemma or challenge we are facing. Then one more aspect of the perspective we are developing is related to the limitations of the financial system. Because with the new business models growing, the gap between the traditional accounting approach and the new business models is really only widening. And in that old business model and new business model, we saw through that tutorials that the gap between the business models and the accounting framework is significantly changing and gap is enhancing. So main limitation of the financial system is that it's not consistent with today's business requirement. It's very much focused on historical results, historical information, and its functional boundaries are really going down. It's more like process-oriented business models integrated, and it's very much focused on the current results, and it's not adequate to really do a full-scale performance management process. Although many organizations have developed the system far beyond the financials, but still, for most organizations, the basis of the performance measurement, the financial results. So that's really becoming misaligned. And look at these common principles. So let me just caution you a little bit here. All of you, almost all of you, are from the accounting finance background, and most of you are qualified professional accountants. Most of you have gone through 5 to 6 years intensive training to learn those accounting principles, and then you have practiced those principles for the last 10, 15, 20 years, right? So I'm going to share some radical ideas which may not immediately be acceptable in your mind, but just try to keep an open mind and try to understand from a third party point of view, because as I said that we have been spent so much time in accounting, learning and practicing that almost our minds become blocked to any idea different than that. So here in this slide, accounting principles, which are basically the foundation of accounting, look at those. So historical cost. Now, all new future business models are becoming future oriented. It's no more about the past. Look at the trillion-dollar values of Microsoft and Amazon and Apple. These are not about the past performance. These are about the future potential of these organizations. So that's one fundamental change is going to happen. Objectivity. Everything is not objective. There is a lot of subjectivity, and you cannot ignore that in the new business models. Then tangibility. Now, accounting system is focused on tangibles. There is very little scope to incorporate intangibles. And today's business model is all about intangibles. People are intangible, brand is intangible, reputation is intangible, leadership is intangible, culture is intangible, and they are very, very valuable. Then we have conservatism, again, very old concept and not really fitting well with the new business models. Monetary measurement. Now we are talking about value creation. Value, many times it's measurable in monetary terms, many times it is not. It's perceptual, it's conceptual, and it's still a very valid value. Then we have accounting period. So accounting period is also losing its relevance because most of the profit cycles or the operating cycles in the new business models are much larger than 12 months. And we don't have an accounting solution to measure and prepare a statement for longer period. Now there are some project accounting, but the scope is very limited. So that's another. So look at these few accounting concepts, and they are not fitting well with the new business model. And of course, we'll talk more about these things. So I just caution you that you may have difficulty to digest this idea right now, but just keep it with an open mind that what are the limitations and reservations with these topics. So reality today is volatility, speculation, disruption. Now these are the terms we don't like in accounting and finance. Any big change, we name it or label it as volatile or speculative and just reject it and just brush it aside. Well, that's the new reality. Volatility is the new reality, new norm. Speculation is the new reality, new norm. Big companies' valuations are changing by billions of dollars every day. That's volatility, but that's not going to go away. There is a lot of speculation, yes, but that's the reality of the time, right? So these are the new things we need to start making effort to digest it. This is the top 10 market caps. So this is just last quarter, very recent. And look at the top companies like Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google, Berkshire, Facebook, etc. So most of the technology companies, Alibaba, Tencent. If you look at their valuation, market cap, and look at the book value, it's a huge, huge difference. The book value of their balance sheet is not more than 20 to 30% of the market value. Just pay attention here. Their book values are not more than 20 to 30% of their market value. 70% of their value we don't capture on the balance sheet. Now, we have been working so long with the balance sheet that we even have stopped asking those questions. That what is the purpose of balance sheet and why are we not capturing 70% of the value? But for a non-finance professional or business person, it's a mystery. Then what is the purpose of balance sheet? Because 70% of the market value represents intangibles. 70% of the market value represents people value, leadership value, culture value, brand value, all the things which we do not measure in accounting, right? Market is smart, investors are smart, shareholders are smart, they always value what the real worth of the business. So that's a big gap in the measurement of financial values. This was not the case 30 years ago. 30 years ago, the tangible book value and the market value were very close. Over a period of time lately, the intangibles have significantly increased in terms of the value. And today's the tangible value has significantly reduced and intangible has increased, creating more gap between the market value and book value. Another limitation of accounting. So this is a typical business life cycle. And business life cycle go through growth, introduction, initial period, then growth, then maturity, then decline. This cycle may complete in few years. This cycle may take hundreds of years. There are companies which are older than 100 years and they're still surviving. So you don't know what would be the life cycle. It's basically perpetual life cycle of a business. Now, in order to do the accounting and the business transactions keep happening all the time, some longer, some short. To measure the financial performance, we create accounting periods, right? So these vertical lines, take them as accounting periods. So we fictitiously try to break the life into small segments because we need to create the results for the users, for the shareholders for a certain period of time. Now, business transactions do not stop, do not close at that time when we close the year. But we try to create results by making adjustment. We call the accrual entries. When we make accrual entries, we try to break the cycle by creating some artificial closures. And accrual requires a lot of estimation, which many times distort the results. So all the potential distortion take place at the time of making accrual entries or trying to make a close of the year or the quarter or the half year. Now, Just be careful. What I'm sharing with you are the limitations of the accounting system. Now, I don't have a solution. I don't have a better solution to fix this, because there are a lot of much smarter and more intelligent people in the profession who would have come up with this idea. I'm only trying to identify the weaknesses of the system from a point of view of business, that look, we are not able to meet the genuine requirement of the business through these limitations. Now, I hope there would be a solution somewhere, sometime in future, but currently we have to live with these limitations. But we need to understand it. A well-defined problem is half solved. Most or many finance professionals even don't understand or don't accept that there are any limitations in the financial system. Take one more example of the limitations. So we all familiar with the financial accounting and management accounting, and we know the purpose of financial accounting is for external reporting and managerial or management accounting for internal purposes. But most of the time, 90% of the cases, we use the financial accounting information for business decisions. We know that there are a lot of distortion following the accounting principles or IFRS rules or FASB rules are for the external reporting, but we use all those things for internal purposes. Whereas we know that management accounting could serve better. But because of the avoiding more work or convenience, whatever you call it, we normally use the financial accounting statements for those internal purposes. That's also create some distortion in the business decision made. So characteristics of a future finance organization, how does it look like? What would be the main characteristic of that future finance organization? 4 things. Number 1 is not about profit maximization. It's about value creation. And we'll talk about value in more detail, so you will understand what does it mean. It's more like forward-looking, not historical cost, not historical reporting, forward-looking. Business managers are very interested in the future of the company. And with the big data analytics, it is possible to really look into the future with a lot of high accuracy and probability. Finance has to be more aligned with the business. The back-end work of the accounting is almost gone. Gone are the days when you can hide within the boundaries of accounting department, doing the closing, crunching the numbers, maintaining the books. There is no such work in few years. So what are you going to do? You need to come forward. You need to be at the forefront of the business and help the business managers. And above all, the most important role for finance is strategic risk management. Now, risk management is the responsibility of every manager, but finance remains the custodian of strategic risk management. So how could you do strategic risk management unless you understand the strategy? This is a framework of this strategy part of the program we'll cover in this program, in this course or schedule. So this is a typical strategic planning process, 3 phases actually. Number 1, strategy formulation. Number 2, strategy execution or implementation. And number 3, the evaluation, the performance evaluation part. And it's very simple process, a very high level. Like you start with a mission, vision, value, purpose of statement of purpose. You do some internal and external analysis. You formulate your long-term goals, and then you develop your strategy, and then you execute it. And based on the execution and monitoring, you make the correction. So it's a control loop, feedback loop happening. Now, keep this high-level strategic process, planning process in mind. And just to give you an overview, what we are going to cover in this program from a strategy point of view is these modules. So there are 12 modules, and that is where they are related to. So starting from the left side, mission, vision, values will cover from the beginning step of the strategy development. You start a strategy with the mission, vision, values. Then for external analysis, we use the framework of Porter's 5 forces analysis, very powerful framework by Michael Porter, who is the living legend, basically a emeritus professor at the Harvard Business School. For internal analysis, we use the value chain analysis. Both models are from Michael Porter. For external analysis, we also use the BCG model. This is from Boston Consulting Group. For strategy development or formulation, we use the business models, we use strategy mapping, and we also use the blue ocean strategy model, right? And then for execution part, we use the balance scorecard, and we also use the enterprise performance management. So just to give you an overview, that when we would cover module by module different strategy frameworks, that is how they apply into the overall strategic planning process. And you could, what you should do going forward, always relate these things to your work environment. So all of you are working somewhere, and most of the time these are the business organization. Try to relate those concepts somehow to your current business environment, work environment, and it will make more sense to you. So how does the finance organization looks like from a roles point of view? What are the main roles in the future finance organization? So of course, CFO is not going anywhere. CFOs will remain there. In fact, CFOs need more people to be part of their leadership team. So it's not only about one person running the finance function, it's a team of the leadership. And that may include the finance director, the VP of finance, the GM of finance, but a team of the senior level finance professionals. That's on the top. Next most important role after that is the finance business partner. Now, finance business partner, we also have a module available in this program to cover. But finance business partner is the person from finance who interact a lot with the business partners, non-finance business partners. That is why it is more important. Now, below that, you see center of expertise. These are the people who are basically have some very special knowledge, like taxes, tax experts, mergers and acquisitions, treasury specialists. Now, despite automation, they would remain there for some time because there are no alternative solutions available. So a center of expertise or center of experts would still be around. Below that, at the bottom, you see automation, transaction processing. That is the whole accounting function. All the typical accounting roles like accounting administrators, payables, receivables, fixed assets, accounting controllers, like doing the month-end closing, maintaining the books, they would all be here automated in the transaction processing. So general rule is anything which is repetitive and anything which is procedural, that would all be automated unless there is some independent individual decision making involved, critical problem solving involved, critical thinking involved. Except for those things, everything else would be automated. So that looks like a near future scenario. And as I said, I'm not going to give a number like 2 years, 5 years, I don't know. But to me, this is near future. It's going to happen very fast in the next few years. The far future model is again more or less the same, starting from the top, CFO finance leadership team, and then finance business partners. But below that is the data team, data specialists, if they are part of the finance. So they will be there, data specialists or data team, data scientists, they will be there somewhere in the organization. I hope they would be part of the finance team. If not, they will be part of some other teams or they will have their own department, but they will be there. And in finance and accounting setup, looks like that they would be at the bottom, they would be at the back end doing all the work, and finance business partner would be working closely with them, use their information and dealing and helping with the business partners, non-finance business partners. Again, this is all about future. It's my best judgment. I could be 100% wrong, but this looks like the scenario. And of course, it would not happen exactly like what I'm showing you, but more or less from the trends point of view, this would be the scenario you can expect in the future to come. So understanding the business is really foundational. Whatever role you are expecting or preparing yourself for future, understanding the business is very, very crucial, or the requirement. And how would you do that? Learning business strategy. So you are at the right place. Next 12 months, you are going to go through a very intensive strategy learning. And strategy doesn't mean that understanding what your business is doing, but also understanding what environment, what is the competitive environment, and who are the competitor, and about the industry and the external environment. Then a lot would depend upon your conversations with the business managers, because you could learn so much through theory and books and case studies. In your business, the best way to learn is talk to the experienced business managers. So you know who those people are. Then on your own, researching information available internally and externally. So make it a habit. Google has almost everything. If you have time, you can find any damn thing on the Google, right? Develop the habits, develop some skills, how to Google things. You could find the right stuff in less time. Today, information is a commodity. There is tons of information available. Your time is scarce. So you need to see that how in your time you could make the best use of finding the right relevant information. And finally, use the strategic tools to test the model. So once you have gone through these different frameworks, you develop the ability and capability to apply these models in your business environment. 5 forces model, value chain analysis, balance scorecard, strategy mapping, you would be able to use them. When you use them, you develop a competitive advantage. You look different from other people because you have a different knowledge and expertise. It need not to mention that now in today's environment with today's challenges, lifelong learning is inevitable. This is the only way to survive. And you can find or you can decide what works for you, what does not work for you. Now, we do have a mechanism called continued professional education, CPE or CPD, continued professional development. In my honest opinion, it's really a joke. Because if this thing were really working, we wouldn't have faced the problem we are talking about. In many institutes, I'm so surprised, and please confirm me if I'm wrong, there is a requirement of CP credits or CPD credits, but you just need to declare to them that you have attended these many programs and then you are given those credits. And many professionals misuse that, or they use anything for that purpose. So in my opinion, it's really a joke. And the problems are not only for that, by the way, CP and CPD, but also for any other training programs or training or development program. These are the problems. First of all, there is no structured approach. It all depends upon the individual. How do they want to do, what they want to do, where they want to go for those things. Number one. Lack of quality providers. There is a lot of training institutions, companies, and trainers, but not quality providers where you could really depend them. It's your luck and lottery. If you go to a training program, you find a good provider, good trainer or not. And then standalone courses with no long-term impact. Even today, 98% of the programs are standalone, which means that you can go to a 1-day workshop, 5-day workshop, even 2 weeks workshop. You go there, you spend time, you learn something, you come back, and that's it. It closes there, right there. That's not the right way to learn. There should be some continuity. The standalone programs only give you an opportunity to take some relaxing time outside your work environment. Lack of industry experienced trainers. In business schools, professors are training CFOs. I don't understand. How could they develop CFOs who have never worked in any accounting and finance department? Ivy Leagues, now there is some value. They teach good theories and case studies, and there is a good brand name, but their costs are exorbitantly high. Not everybody could afford it. And companies are really reluctant to invest money for the training of their employees. Significantly reduced budgets for that part. And finally, top of it, the most important or most dominant reason for the lack of training is you don't have time. Most professionals, even they want to go to the training, they have the budget to do that, they don't have the time for training. And they keep deferring it because it's not a high priority. They keep deferring it and never comes a time when they will do the training. So these are the main limitations in our training curriculum or training environment available today for most professionals. Lack of continuity, I mentioned that, very important. Now, for lifelong learning model, what should be the minimum requirement or you should really pursue or look for it. So number one, it needs to be integrated into your day-to-day schedule. Now, gone are the days and times when you could go for a 2-day training, 5-day training. First of all, it's very difficult to find time, but those do not help. Even for a 2 weeks training, you go there, you learn a lot, you enjoy the time over there, you come back with a lot of information piled up, and in next another 2 weeks, all is gone. You are there where you started, right? So it needs to be integrated into your day-to-day schedule, which means that we are not talking about 2 days, 5 days, or 10 days program. We are talking about small digestible doses in the form of digital learning mainly. Digital learning is very convenient, like video tutorials, articles, blogs, webinars. You are on your devices all the time. Imagine that you are in the doctor's office and you have 15 minutes or half an hour wait. And during that half an hour, you watch few short videos. That's a very practical learning. So you don't need to really plan and schedule time for it. Digital learning is very convenient and it comes whenever there is an opportunity. Then contents must align with your career progress. You cannot learn and should not learn each and everything come your way. As I said, information is commodity. There is every damn thing available on Google if you search for it, but you don't have time. So within your given time, you need to find the relevant stuff which is relevant to you for your career progress and development, only that part. And to boost your learning, to enhance your learning experience, you need to get involved with an interactive peer group for live discussion and follow-up. So fortunately, in this program, you have enough peers. It's a large group, and I'm going to share with you soon the peer groups we have set up. So you would be working with 3, 4, or 5 other people who are following this program as a peer group. That would enhance significantly your learning experience. I'll explain you how. And preferably, not requirement, but preferably mentoring or coaching another junior person around you on the same topic. So my advice is that in this program, while you are learning a lot of things, find another professional who is outside this program and who you think is the best candidate to learn, and try to mentor and coach that person with all the learning you have in this program. That would at least 3-fold increase your learning experience. Let me tell you, and this is very common, we don't learn as much when we are learning for our own sake. But if you need to learn something for the purpose of teaching something else, then it's completely a different experience. When I did my MBA, let me tell you, in the last semester, so it's not the beginning of the program, the last semester, 3 years, after 3 years, I had the last semester course as business strategy. I struggled in that business strategy semester course. I just passed through marginally. And at that time, even after passing my course and passing my MBA, if someone would have asked to define me strategy, I couldn't have defined. That was the quality of learning. But I got my MBA degree. Later on, I started to teach in the same business school where I graduated. And that is where I learned all the things, not only business, but accounting. I taught financial accounting, advanced accounting, managerial accounting, cost accounting, and financial of analysis, statement analysis, and a lot of business subject. And everything I know today was based on that initial learning I learned through teaching, not by attending classes, but when I was myself teaching. So that's a very rich way, rich experience to learn things. So my sincere advice, try to find someone and coach that person during this program as well. And all these things should be sustainable in the long term. As I said, that we are not talking about 1-day or 2-day program, 5-day program. It must be integrated in your day-to-day schedule, that you don't feel that you are taking extra time. It's part of your life. It's part of your lifestyle. That is the only way to adopt to a lifelong learning model. Advanced career strategy, I'm sure some of you might have seen this model before, but this is my overall framework for your learning and development. And basically in this program, we are covering all these areas. So it starts with your personal development. It starts with your personal leadership. changing your mindset, changing your inner game, which leads to your peak performance. Now, peak performance or work-life integration is not equivalent to workaholism, by the way. Many people misunderstand that. The peak performance or work-life integration, do I need to work all the time? Absolutely not. This is quite contrary, and we'll talk about in detail about that. But that's part of your personal leadership. Once you are ready, once you are prepared, you move to your public leadership, which is basically two main expertise or competencies: personal branding and your relationship and networking. With the help of these two competencies, you are prepared to deal with the world. And that is where your expertise comes. Because if you have a lot of expertise, a lot of talent, and only you believe that you are talent, the world does not believe into it, it's all going to be useless. Before you could share your expertise with the world, you need to ensure that they understand your brand, they understand your expertise, and that is where your personal branding and relationship matters. And look, your results are only your influence. Don't worry about anything else. All other things are your byproduct. Money, rank, your designation, your role, all those are byproducts. You should focus creating influence. I meet many CFOs, experienced senior level CFOs, who are frustrated. They would tell me that, look, I have good solution and good advice for all the problems in our company, but my CEO does not listen to me. And I tell them there is a reason he doesn't listen to you, because he doesn't believe you. You have no influence on that person. I believe that your solutions are workable, but your CEO does not have the level of trust and confidence on you. So he doesn't listen. So influence is your key to success. Once you have influence, and influence not only in your work environment, in your life. Do you have influence in your family members? Do you have influence on your neighbors? Do you have influence on your professional friends? It should be part of your personality. And that is how you should measure your success. So this framework is fully covered in this program. As we go through the content, you would realize that we are covering each and every area in quite some detail. So your career plan is not something different than your life plan or life vision. That's very important part of the work-life integration. That your work and life are not two different things. The problem with the concept of work-life balance is that as if these are two different things. When you go to work, you shut off your life and you are in non-life area. And when you leave the work, you are released from the prison and you are back in your life. It's not like that. All the time we spend at work is part of our life. It's very precious time. So it's integrated, and we need to ensure that every moment of life, whether work or personal life, we are utilizing fully for us and for the people around us. So this is a typical profile for a successful finance professional for future. As you could see, strategic thinking is all about strategy. You don't develop a strategic thinking without really learning a lot about your business. Next thing, your leadership skills, your communication, emotional intelligence, teamwork, collaboration, presentation skills, etc. Then technology has become very important. So understanding the basic technologies, machine learning, blockchain, data analytics, IoT, all those things. And fourthly, on the bottom left side, your professional network is very crucial. Now, many times people forget about this part. All three components would not be fully utilized or would be wasteful if you don't develop your professional network. But that is the door to the opportunities. Professional network is opening to the world. You could develop a lot, learn a lot for the three areas, but unless you have an opening window to the world, nothing will happen. So don't undermine the critical importance of your professional networking. So I'm sure you have gone through this slide or this picture while you are enrolling into this program. So this is a comprehensive curriculum, all four areas, as I said, that strategy, leadership, technology, and also a lot of personal development through a network relationship. Here is something you need to understand before we jump into the contents. Now, this is from Daniel Goleman. Daniel Goleman is the living legend and a global expert on the emotional intelligence. And he says that for leadership development, you need a different approach. So look at this picture. Left, I hope you understand the difference between left brain and right brain. The left brain is more like logical. Left brain is rational. Left brain, we could learn anything faster. All of our life we spend in a school, college, university, we usually use our left brain for those learning. That is why we learn very quickly, very fast, right? From year to year to year, we advance very fast because we are using all the time our left brain. Right brain is more emotional, is more feelings, not logic. It works with the emotions like loyalty and trust, passion, drive, decision making. This is an area where our habits are formed or changed, but it takes longer. The way right brain learn is very different than the way left brain learns. This is the finding from Daniel Goleman. And he said that, look, all of your learning life as a student in the school, college, university, it worked very well with your left brain. But now in your practical life as a practicing professional, it is your right brain which you need to use for your learning, especially for the leadership development. That is the reason that we learn so slow. In our matured adult life, we learn slowly. So imagine that when you are sent for a 5-day workshop, how much things are dumped on your brain or your mind. And you feel good for the time being, but when you come back, you're back to where you started, right? Now, this program, this strategic CFO program, is a very comprehensive program, but it's 1 year. There is about 70, 80 hours of contents. We can dump those 70, 80 contents. If I could create a 2 weeks workshop, non-stop full day, I could dump all those contents in 2 weeks. Would you learn the same thing? Absolutely not. It would all overflow. So what we have done, we have taken those 70, 80 hours contents and spread over a longer period, 12 months, to make it more understandable, digestible. This is the one of the crucial reason that most of the trainings at the corporate level fail, because they try to dump a lot of stuff in a short period of time. It doesn't work. As soon as I learned it, that was 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago actually, I changed the format of MECA CFO Academy. I'm no more conducting those day-long workshops. Most of my programs are 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months using the same format. So look at this slide, very important. This is the whole curriculum of this program. So there are 3 areas like strategy, leadership, and technology, right? And each area has 12 modules. You're already experiencing that the modules are released on a timely basis. You're not getting everything in one go. When you started, when you enrolled, you got the first modules, understanding value creation and setting up your inner game, right? The way it works, so in this, you see the 36 modules, and the number you see against each is basically the number of days after enrollment. So start looking from the S1 module on the upper left side. As soon as you enroll, you get the first module, understanding value creation. In 7 days, 1 week after, you get the leadership module. Then 1 week after, you get the technology modules. So every month you will get 3 modules. Next month, after 30 days, second line, strategy basics, you get the second module from the strategy. And then 1 week after, you get the leadership module, and 1 week after, you get the technology module. So based on this cycle, every month, in the first 3 weeks, you are getting the 3 modules. So it's a weekly dose you are getting, right? Very much manageable. 4th week is free because 4th week you are supposed to spend some time with your peers. So it's a very balanced manner. Now, the beauty of this model is that whenever you have a new module available, you are very hungry for the new information. You are very receptive to the new ideas, and you learn it very well. You digest it. Everything you learn in this program is doable, is practical. You learn one thing and next day you could apply it to your work. That significantly enhances your quality of learning. So in 1 year approximately, so you see the last module would be released after 344 days, almost a year. But all the contents are spread in a very balanced manner. There are two main aspects of this program. Number one is the content. So look, this is not new. We are teaching this program. This is the 4th year. The second important aspect is the format or a structure. And I'm very serious on it, because I think that makes a big difference. You have the very valuable content. If the structure is not right, it doesn't really create results. So here we are talking about a very good structure. There are not many programs available anywhere in the world which have this type of structure. And with this quality, this is a life-changing experience. One of the unique characteristics of this program is that it's only around leadership, strategy, and technology. We don't teach financial management or the normal things which you have learned already in your accounting qualification or other programs. The objective of the program is to make you or help you become a CFO if you are not yet. If you are already a CFO, and there are several CFOs in this program, it will help you to become even a more senior level with larger portfolio. Peer-to-peer network is a very important part of this program. Strategy expertise or strategy specialization is also a very important part. And also it would help you shine your personal brand, which is the key for your leadership success. So I'm sure by now you are all have a high level of motivation to go with this program, right? You already made a decision. There was a desire. You feel this is needed. You are determined to do that. You have passionate, and you have opportunity in front of you, right? That's all well and good. That is how you have already registered and enrolled, and you are here in this first session, right? But look, motivation is only something good for start something. Today, all of you sitting in this session are very motivated, very committed, very determined. But reality is that it wears out very soon. You lose your passion, you lose your energy, because I'm not predicting something for you. This is based on a last 3 years experience with attendees who join this program. Now, it doesn't happen with everyone, but some people lose interest or become a little lazy. So what really works is your habits. And starting habits, new habits, is not easy. So think of your habits as a space shuttle. When a space shuttle is launched into the orbit, it consumes 87% of its fuel in the first 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Because it has to go up 25,000 miles up in the sky to break the force of orbit. So it needs a lot of energy. But once it breaks the orbit, it floats very easily. It doesn't need much power and fuel, right? Your new habit development works the same way. So imagine that you are trying to develop a new habit. First 10 days are very, very challenging because you are trying to defy gravity, right? But if you are succeed in the first 10 days, then it becomes a little better. Still, there is a lot of active resistance. And if you continue with another 10 days, then you are getting better. Habits is becoming more natural to you. And finally, in 30 to 40 days, you become used to that habit, right? It happens or not. So the main challenge is really first 10, 15, 20 days. Now, how do you achieve that? Look at this. So what makes it happen? So motivation help you to start something. You get motivated at the beginning of the year, you start going to gym. First week, second week, third week, you are lazy and tired, right? So what you need to keep it going, you need a structure, you need a process, you need some accountability, you need some support, you need some recognition, you need some reward, you need some leadership, and above all, you need peer pressure. Now think of this. All of you work in a business environment, which is a formal setup. In work environment, in business environment, we have a structure, we have process, we have accountability, we have support, recognition, everything, right? And most of the time we are accomplishing our projects. Is that true or not? But when it comes to some personal project, like you wanted to go to gym, you want to reduce weight, you want to do some repair some part of your house, it's always delaying. It's always there is some reason that we are not able to accomplish because there is no structure, there is no process, there is no accountability. So once there is accountability, we are forced to accomplish something. Once there is a structure, we are motivated to do something in a long term. That is what we need to create in this program. So good news is that you are already part of this program, which is a structured program. Now, many people think for years to really, I could read all the books in strategy, no problem. I could develop myself. I could become a good leader by learning leadership habits, not a problem. and it never happens because there is no structure, process, accountability. At least by enrolling into this program, you have ensured that you will go through this learning process by force for 12 months. And we want to enhance these things further to make it more probable for you that you would not stop unless you complete your objective. So peer pressure, or call it peer accountability or peer support, is very, very important. And that's what we are going to achieve structured in this program. So you will notice that the most successful leaders are the ones who are surrounded by a good network of similar people. So you need to surround yourself with like-minded people. If they're not very rich and successful, at least they have the same mindset to make effort, and it would be a lot more easier for you to work along with them. That is where comes your social circle. So your social circle, which is peer-to-peer network, is very important. It's right in the middle. So most people think of the work and life, work and family as the two component of life. They forget about the social network. The peer-to-peer network is very important, because if you look at the family and work, family is permanent, work is temporary. Right in the middle, you have the peer-to-peer network, which is neither permanent nor temporary. If you lose a job, where would you go? You would go to your social network, right? Similarly, family is emotional relationship, work is rational. Peer-to-peer network is somewhere in between. It's neither emotional nor rational. There may be friends you have emotional connection. There may be other people who do not have any emotional connection with you. So this is an important component of life we should not forget. In this program, we have the opportunity to create those connections. Now, some of you may already have some good social network, some may not. But here, I think there are 55 people in this group. Here we have opportunity that we could connect with other people, other peers, other members in this program who are similar, who are like-minded, who have the same ambition to become an outstanding leader, right? And we are together for 12 months. So this is an opportunity we need to utilize. With that idea, we are being formed into peer study groups. So these are study groups of 3 to 6 members each. So I have formed you, I have put you in a group of 3 to 6 members based on your location. Now you are supposed to meet, each peer study group supposed to meet 4th week. So first week you have a strategy module, second week you have leadership module, third week you have a technology module, 4th week you will meet with your peer group in person or online, whatever is convenient. There are a lot of people from the big cities like Dubai, Riyadh, Jeddah. They could meet personally. That would be far more effective. But if your location is in different cities and it's not convenient, you can meet online. There is a lot of tools and infrastructure available to make a connection. Try to set up a time for 2 to 3 hours. Now you can do it on Saturday or Friday or Sunday. Usually the weekend is the best time to create those meetings. What are you going to do on those meetings? In those meetings, each member of that group need to pick a topic from strategy, leadership, or technology modules. Just one topic, not the whole module. Any one topic you like. Pick one topic and make a 10 to 15-minute presentation to the peer group as if you are teaching them. So go deep. If you like a concept in any module, go a little deeper into it. Do research, add to your own point of view, and try to make a presentation for 10-15 minutes to a group as if you are teaching them, right? So if there are 5 members, you could take 10-12 minutes and you could finish 1 to 1.5 hours, right? Now the role of the group members, other group members, session must be interactive, and group needs to provide feedback on the communication, presentation, and teaching skills of the presenter right there on their face. This is a very important exercise, and I don't have much role to play into it because you would be running your own peer study groups. I would not be part of it, but this is crucial for your leadership development. I call it jumping into the water. You can continue working with me if you want to learn swimming, and if I'm your swimming instructor, I could give you instructions for 5 years. You will not learn any swimming unless you jump into the water. Similarly, you can read 100 books, you can watch 100 hours videos, clips to learn swimming. You are not going to learn unless you jump into the water. This is the part of jumping into the water along with your peer study groups. When you practically work presenting as if you are presenting to your board, you are getting feedback from your members because all of you are same. All of you are on the same journey. You should not be hesitant to practice anything. We are all learner here. You will make mistakes. That's the reason. That's the purpose of these meetings, to make mistakes and learn within ourselves. So you will work with the group in this way, and time permitting, you may discuss other course related matters. Just once a month. It's not a big demand, and I think all of you could do it. So peer group protocols, these are the few ideas or suggestion. The first person listed on each peer group is the current leader or facilitator for their peer group. First person, whoever is listed. And their role is to lead and facilitate the peer group meetings. This role will be rotated with other members on a quarterly basis. So if you have 4 members or 5 members, then everybody will have a chance to become a facilitator and leader. Your role basically is that right now, after this session, you should take initiative to connect with other members of your peer group. Send them email, connect them on WhatsApp, just connect together to ensure that you have been connected together. And then try to plan and schedule the 12 meetings on a monthly basis. This is very important because you have to take that role as a responsibility. Not everybody would conform to your expectation. This is an opportunity. If you become the facilitator and leader, you become this is your opportunity to practice your leadership. Other people may not listen, but you need to convince them, you need to motivate them, right? That's a role which would rotate on a quarterly basis. So for communication within the peer group, you can create your own separate WhatsApp group. Don't mix up with the master group. So one group we have already created for all the people, we call it a master group level, right? This group is only for the master group level communication. If you want to communicate with me or with all the people or more people, you can use this group. But within your peer group, create a separate WhatsApp group. So it's not really create a lot of noise in the communication. And in addition to that, also join, there is a LinkedIn group called MECA Strategic CFO group. I've given you the link. Also join that. That's the group of the people who are alumni of this program. All the alumni, there are 150 people already. So all the people who have completed this program, they are part of that group. I'm giving you opportunity to join that group already, being enrolled into this program. That would also connect you with another 150 people who have already gone through the program, who are alumni of MECA. So they are very resourceful and very relevant for you. So look, here in this program, here is my promise that this would be, once you complete successfully, this would be your most valuable learning experience of your lifetime. That's my claim. And it would create a new mindset for you. How do you see your role in solving business problems? Altogether a new mindset. And a confidence, courage to actively participate in a strategy conversation at the board level. This is my promise. But my promise is subject to your commitment. And your commitment is that you will also develop a mindset and take this program as the most important learning experience of your life. And you will follow the discipline, schedule at least 5 to 6 hours each week. It's not a big deal, 5 to 6 hours per week, but you would dedicate this. This includes your live session, video monitoring, and the peer group session, 5 to 6 hours, not a big deal. You would also follow through your peer group. Now, what will happen in peer group, not everybody is not a natural leader. Some natural leader would emerge, some will not. Some people will disappoint you. If you are the leader of your peer group, some people will disappoint you. It is your opportunity to inspire them, lead them. They need your leadership. Practice your leadership with them. So not only take that everybody will follow the rules, but if they don't, that becomes your leadership opportunity. And one final suggestion, make a self-commitment to coach and mentor another professional outside this program with all the knowledge you will gain here in this program. It's a 12-month time frame. You have enough time. Whatever you would learn, try to teach back to some other people who need it voluntarily. And this will at least threefold enhance your learning experience. That's my claim is. So try to take this seriously. It's not a requirement, but it's my serious suggestion for you to follow. I suggested these 5 books to you. I'm sure many of you already have it. These two books are small books, not very voluminous, but one is strategy for good starter. These are also strategy, more live case studies. These 5 books you don't need to read right now, starting from cover to cover, but just buy them and keep them in your home library or your bookshelf and start referring them. Now, this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, this is a Bible on leadership. If you have to read one book on business leadership, this is the one. In your life, this is the one. All books are very carefully chosen. Don't take the pirated edition from the internet PDF copies. Buy them. This is not a big investment. You can buy all these 5 books in 60, 70, less than $100. Keep them. This is the start of your leadership journey. Create a mini home library and keep adding and keep reading. Your action item from this session, number 1, if you have not yet, then sign in your MECA CFO Academy program page and review the first module in strategy value creation. Next session, next week, we'll try to cover value creation part in more detail. So you should go through the material which is already available. Create a schedule and allocate 5 to 6 hours each week for this program. Create a calendar for 12 months right now. Establish contact with your peer study group and agree on a monthly schedule to hold the peer group meetings, right? This is a peer responsibility, peer accountability. And finally, acquire the recommended books and block 15-20 minutes. As I said, you don't need to start reading cover to cover. Just allocate 15-20 minutes every day and start reading them, and you will see that change will start to happen. Gentlemen and ladies, that's all I have for this first introductory session. I hope I have explained and answered most of your questions, but if there is anything still pending in your mind, then feel free to ask, and I would try to explain it now.
Yes, it's been a great session. I've been to this session again after 2 years. Before that, I had attended 4th batch of the CFO program.
Great.
And I've been so excited to sail through this program. And I'm feeling the same value that I had in 4th batch. And that program has changed my life as a CFO. I was just on the second position, second to CFO. And after attending that particular program, within like 6 months or so, I managed to have the CFO position.
Great.
My CFO left the organization, and my organization gave me the opportunity, and then I capitalized on that opportunity. And it's been 2 years. I'm connected with you. And every moment that I spent with you by watching the video or the audio, whatever the stuff I receive from your side, that is of great value to me.
Very kind of you.
I really look forward the same value in this program in the coming sessions. Thank you.